Welcome to the Better Together podcast. I'm your host, Kyla, and today we have another fun topic. It's part 2 of hot takes, hot potato takes, quick takes, whatever you call them. But before we get into the topic, let me read my Journey to the Heart entry. This one is called Take Better Care of Yourself. Take better care of yourself than you ever have before. That's what your heart is telling you to do. Those times of driving yourself, depriving yourself, not being gentle, and loving with yourself will no longer work. Punishing, criticizing, repressing, and denying won't bring the feelings, the growth, the result you're seeking. The harder you push, the more you relentlessly demand perfection, the worse you'll feel. Fall in love with yourself. Be gentle, loving, kind, and attentive. Take time throughout each day to tend to your needs, just as you would tend to someone you loved deeply and dearly. Loving and caring for yourself this way won't waste time. It's not a delay. Take better care of yourself, and life's magic will return. Your life will improve. You'll feel better too. Taking care of yourself is a simple act with profound consequences. The better and more often you care for yourself, the more you'll align with the universe and God's love. So I wanted to do this one because with the holidays coming up, and we just celebrated Thanksgiving, but more specifically with Christmas and Hanukkah coming up and all the other holidays during this time, it can be a hard time of year for people, and it's important to remember self-love and putting your needs first in certain situations and making sure you're taking care of yourself. So it's just a reminder of that. And so yeah, that's why I picked that entry. So with that said, let's get into the topic. Our guests today are the same guests as last time, Noah and Morgan. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Okay. Is binge watching an entire series in one day a waste of time or a valid way to relax?
Like there's one question you have to ask yourself. Are you enjoying the show? If you're not enjoying the show, yes, it's a major waste of time. What are you doing? But if you do enjoy it, come on. It's a way to, relax. It's a way to unwind. And if it's something that you're enjoying, even if it's a whole day, maybe you needed a whole day off. Who knows? I will admit, I do that frequently. Where I'll start watching some show, and then next thing I know, I've gone through an entire season in a day. So I can't judge over here. As long as you like it, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's only a bad thing if you're doing it constantly and you're doing it to avoid something, because TV, reading is a form of an escape. So I think that if you're trying to constantly escape something, then maybe it's not the healthiest. But if it's more of something you're just doing because you're enjoying whatever the show or movie you're watching is about, then there's no problem with that. And if you don't have any responsibilities that day, then who am I to tell you you're wasting your time? I do that stuff all the time.
I mean, I love to binge watch TV, so definitely totally fine with it over here. But I agree, if you're doing it too much, then yeah, at a certain point, maybe you should try something else.
I remember what I was going to say. I think even if you're using it as a way to escape, it's like, depending on what you're escaping from, even that's fine. Like, if you have a lot of really negative stuff happening at that time in your life, there's nothing wrong with escaping your reality to this new reality for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So even in that situation.
Yeah. Next question. Should tipping as a practice be abolished in favor of fair wages, or is tipping a valuable custom? I like this one because we kind of answered about tipping in the last episode.
We did, yeah.
Back to the tipping.
Back to the tipping. I'll say I think that regardless of what happens to tipping, fair wages should be a given. I feel like you should be making enough to where you don't need to live on tips. because tips are sort of unreliable. With that said, I don't think we should get rid of tips. I think it's a good way to basically incentivize, people to work hard and to show them your appreciation. I think it makes sense culturally, and maybe doesn't make sense culturally everywhere, but certainly here in the U.S. it does. And so it would certainly feel weird if we got rid of it. But I'm all for fair wages.
I agree. I think that we should have fair wages and we should keep tipping because it's an incentive for people. I wish I got tipping at my job. On top of my salary. Obviously not as necessary, but I think that rather than you getting a super low wage under minimum wage in a service industry position where you're waitressing or you're working at some sort of like food, coffee, whatever spot, even a bar, whatever, rather than getting something under minimum wage and the tip matches whatever the minimum wage is. No, it should just be an incentive, an extra thing. Like you would get a, what's it called? Not a bonus, a commission. Because if you get, typically people who get commission have some sort of salary or hourly wage that meets the minimum wage or is above that. That should be the same for a tip. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And if you really couldn't have both, I guess I would go for the fair wages simply because, it's better to have predictable income than to just, basically guess what you're going to make at any given time. So, if you really can't have both, fair wages is probably the more important thing. But
yeah.
I feel like I feel like this one's a weird one for me because I'm definitely on the side of fair wages in general. But it's weird because it was on our ballot in Massachusetts this year, specifically for doing fair wages for servers in restaurants, and it was shot down across the board by all of our servers. Like, they didn't want it because I think they were afraid of losing tipping in general. So, I don't know.
Interesting. So it wasn't stated that if it became a thing that they would get fair wages, that tipping would go away. Was that said at any point that made them believe that?
I don't know if it was explicitly said or not, but I do know that was definitely a concern that even just as like a culture shift, that people wouldn't be doing it as much. But.
Yeah, that's interesting. This would be a really good question to ask people in the service industry. I'm very curious what they would say in general.
But generally speaking, I do feel like it should be on like the employer to be paying their employees. Like, it shouldn't be my job to be paying their wages.
Yeah, it feels obvious.
I will if I need to.
Absolutely. And I do want to put that question out there for anybody listening. If you are in a service industry position, how do you feel about this topic? Is tipping something that, one, is that something that you are relying on, or and if you got fair wages and tips were gone, is that something you would like, or is that kind of like, no, tipping is better? Give us your thoughts on that. All right. Should holidays like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve be celebrated with big gestures, or are they overhyped?
I would go in first on all these. I want to give someone else the opportunity to speak up here.
I think they're overhyped.
Why?
Because they're like Hallmark holidays. They're not like real holidays. And I think that they're just kind of excuses to celebrate something, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's fun to celebrate things. But things like Valentine's Day, I think ultimately, like, if you're single or not with someone, those holidays become harder, and it's just like unnecessary. It's just unnecessary to me. I like celebrating them. I'm not going to say I don't. I do like celebrating those holidays. I think it's fun, but I think it ultimately becomes an excuse to get drunk, party. Not that everybody does those things, but it's what the majority ends up doing. I know that New Year's Eve is like one of the biggest nights for drunk driving, which is extremely dangerous. So, I mean, honestly, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to celebrate, things for these types of holidays for whatever reason, but it's just not, like, necessary, I guess. Although I don't think any holiday is, like, I mean, that's not true. I don't want to say that. Not every holidays are necessary, like, more religious type holidays are a different reason, but I don't know. I just feel like this type of stuff is not. They're Hallmark holidays, in my opinion. They're fun, but they're just not necessary.
So you want me to go?
Yeah, I'm letting other people talk.
That's fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I feel split in both directions on this one because, on the one hand, I mean, yeah, they're not necessary. Like, what are we celebrating? Like, I don't really care that much. But but on the other hand, like, for Valentine's Day, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to say no to an excuse to be appreciated or show my appreciation. And I think there's ways to have fun with it, too. Like, when I was single, I would always do things with my friends every year instead. So I think that would be fun. But in terms of them being necessary holidays, per se, like, no.
Yeah, that's a good point. The way that I look at it is if you enjoy it, then, enjoy it. I guess you bring up a good point, Kyle, where it's like, it could be hurtful to some people. Like, Valentine's Day feels like a very loaded holiday. One thing that I also think, however, is I don't fully understand why we need a day dedicated to showing our love and appreciation towards the people that we love when realistically you should be doing that all the time. And if you're not doing that all the time, that's its own issue. So,
right.
By all means, for the fact that it's something that you can enjoy, but you guys are right. It's like a little unnecessary.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's different types of harm too. Like, drunk driving, I feel like, is, like, a whole different thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, anything that's, like, excess drinking, whether it's, I mean, I feel like there's even, like, stupider ones, like St. Patrick's Day is really crazy around here, or Cinco de Mayo, like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of holidays like that are just an excuse to get fucked up, which I don't think is a good thing. But
yeah, exactly.
Not everybody's doing that, so it's not like an issue for everybody, but
Sure.
I think it is a problem when there's a specific holiday like New Year's Eve that becomes the day where it's the most drunk drivers out and stuff like that. So
Yeah, no. And the kissing at midnight is also ridiculous. Like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
I feel like there can be so much pressure around that if you're, like,
Absolutely.
not coupled up
Absolutely.
and everyone else is.
Okay, this next one is... I'm excited for these ones. If aliens visited Earth, should we let them live among us or keep them separate?
I think it depends on how they're acting. Like, also, I feel like this time it's really a surprise because last time I feel like I was, prepared. But also, I don't know if you guys have been hearing about the aliens in the ocean, but that's a whole other thing. But
I haven't heard about that.
This is news to me.
I don't know the details, honestly. I just, saw this is, conspiracy theory shit, so it's probably fake. I don't even know. I didn't investigate it deeply, but I had been seeing it blowing up, that there had been, some government documents released recently that said something about them knowing there were aliens in the ocean. I have no idea.
I didn't know there was anything to do with the ocean. I knew there were government documents that were released basically proving that aliens exist. I didn't know the ocean.
Apparently, part of that I think was them living in the ocean. I don't know, but which I mean, there's weird shit going down in the deep ocean.
Yeah,
so.
With the amount of stuff we don't know about the ocean, are they aliens?
Yeah, maybe. And if which case, they've probably been here for a while, not bugging me. So.
Exactly.
All right. Well, here, look. There's 100% aliens. aliens, in my opinion. In my professional opinion as a scientist.
You're like, in my opinion,
I don't know
as
anything
a
about that.
Absolutely.
fact.
No.
As a fact,
no.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
we went to an exhibit.
Yeah. No, I do believe that there are aliens, which to me is defined as like creatures that we haven't, living things that we have not identified outside of humans, outside of any other living thing we've identified. Because I believe we are so small in the scheme of things that how can there not be other things out there that we don't know about, okay? Those to me are aliens.
100%. You need to chill.
And stop laughing at me. Stop laughing at me. And then also, I think that if aliens visited Earth and sorry, let me start that over. I feel like I would allow aliens to live among us if they visited because I want to be accepting of all things. As long as they're not harmful to us and the world.
I was going to say, if
then
they're not
who am I to
like,
say?
what was that book show?
What are you talking about?
What was that book show with the aliens in the video game?
Oh,
killing people?
Three
Not
Body
that.
Problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but like, who
If
am
it's
I
like
to
that
say?
shit, no.
Yeah, no. But like, who am I to say if they're not doing any harm, why can't they live among us? And what if they do? What if they are so much more scientifically advanced than us, and they can, cure cancer and stuff like that?
The way that I look at this is if an alien spaceship landed on Earth, we all witnessed this happen, we're fucked. Because you can think of this like Columbus going to the New World. It's the same concept as that. Like, if you're advanced enough to find a planet that's inhabited by any species, let alone a species that is intelligent like us, if you're able to get to that planet, you are clearly so much further advanced than us that we are like ants to you. That's like one of the concepts that they talk about in the Three Body Problem. I think that's further in the series, but like we're basically like ants to this species, this civilization. So if they come here,
True.
Why would they like even pay us any mind? Like, we're so beneath them. It'd be like, when you're going outside and you're walking, do you look at every ant that you pass? You literally do not notice them. Yeah. That's what would happen.
That's why they're in the ocean doing their own shit.
Exactly. They don't pay attention to us. And if they do, they would just wipe us out because it'd be so easy. It'd be like stepping on an ant. So, I mean...
Yeah, but what if we're not that small to them?
I don't mean, like, physically. I mean just, like...
Mentally.
On a technological level.
Stepping on us mentally.
Yeah.
But don't you think that and this might sound stupid and I hope it doesn't, but don't you think that if ants were super big, yes, maybe they're not very smart, although they are kind of smart, obviously not as smart as us, but if they were like huge, like our size, huge or bigger.
Yeah, but if they were our size,
we would notice them a little bit more, and maybe they would become more a part of our way of living. Think about,
of
and
course,
this is my
Kyla.
point. But listen, this is my point. This is my point I'm trying to make here. Dogs, cats, pets, farm animals. I mean, yes, they're still pets, farm animals, I get that.
God, you took my... Basically, I gave you an analogy. I was comparing us on the scale.
Well, no, forget this. How do we know how big the aliens are? What if they literally can step on us?
Or what if we could step on them?
Yeah, exactly.
What if we could step on them? What if we could step on them?
A little spaceship.
They're super smart.
Exactly.
They're extremely smart.
But they're too small.
Literally, just step on them and they're done. So if they try to take us over, they can't.
What the fuck are we talking
I know. Have you heard? I'll take us on another tangent. I'll tell you after. Remind me to tell you. What?
I just don't even know what we're talking about at this point. Yeah, if aliens land, we're fucked. Unless they're really small. I guess we're fine.
Yeah, just step on them. Maybe they're already here. Maybe we've been stepping on them.
Maybe we have been. Maybe they've been here the whole time. They're just so small.
It's like Ant-Man up in here.
Seriously.
If time travel became possible, should it be regulated or left open to everybody?
Are these paradoxes true? Like, in this reality, are the paradoxes that, like, you could ruin everything by time traveling real? Is that a real thing?
Let's say it is.
Well, then 100%.
Yeah, it needs to be
regulated.
regulated.
I want the university app. Please regulate this.
Just a bunch of changes all the time.
Yeah.
People traveling back, changing things in both directions.
I mean, from our perspective, I guess we wouldn't know, because it'd be how it always was to us, just over and over again. But I don't know. I feel like the world would end. I feel like, yes, let's have regulation on that, if that's the case. If there's no, like, paradox, crazy shit that could go down, then have fun.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on the circumstances.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be like taking a flight. You need a ticket to go to whatever year you want to go to.
Exactly. Simulation.
Yeah, but I don't want to bring consumerism into this, because if you need a ticket, then you have to pay, and then people who can't afford it can't.
Yeah, but how is everyone supposed to have time travel for free?
I think it should be just a human thing that you get.
I think that we should be able to go on planes like that too.
Yeah, what if the planes are free?
I want free planes now. That's what I've realized from this. We should have free time travel and free planes.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But yeah, if there's no repercussions, let the people travel the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there's no repercussions. But if there are repercussions and you fuck up the timeline, then it can only be certain people that do it, and it has to be for a particular reason. Like, it has to be, and I hate to say this because I don't want to be one that's like for the government, because, well, I'm not going to say that either. But I'm not going to say that you have to be for the government. But I feel like it would have to be like government officials who were allowed to do that, like FBI, CIA type people that were allowed to time travel for very specific reasons, rather than just everyday people, because then it would be so easy to just like do something in the benefit of yourself or your family or whatever the reason is that you're traveling, to fuck up the timeline.
I'll be honest.
Fuck everybody up.
I wouldn't even want government officials or the CIA doing this. I've seen most humans out there. Somebody's going to fuck something up, even if you're in some high position. So if there's any chance that the timeline gets all messed up, nobody should be allowed to time travel. No. It should just be not allowed at all.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
And you say if everyone could do it, it could be so chaotic.
Yeah.
It's a no for me. Nobody gets the privilege.
If animals could talk, would eating meat become immoral, or would nothing change? I think eating meat would become immoral, because if I could hear a cow being like, no, my family, I have a baby. I have a...
But why would I be hearing them do that? I'm not the butcher.
One, I won't be hearing them, but two, animals do talk. Cows moo. We still don't understand them. But with that said, my question is, are they conscious? Are they conscious? Are they like...
I'm going to say that they're conscious.
Okay, well, in that case...
For the purpose of this question, they're conscious.
then really what we're asking here is
Are they conscious?
Is it okay? Basically, is it okay to eat intelligent life? Like, are you aware of your existence? Essentially, like.
Okay, but wait,
Yeah.
cows actually are pretty intelligent. They're like dogs.
Sure, but I mean like aware of your existence level. Like
You don't think dogs are aware of their existence?
if a dog looks in the mirror, do they think it's them?
What's that one dog on TikTok? What's her name? Because she learned how to talk through those like buttons.
Oh, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and I don't remember her name, but she looks in the mirror and she goes,
Yes, that's her
What
name.
what is me? Using her name, not me, but like, I can't remember her name right now.
I think that dog may be an exception.
I think they can be self-aware. I just think that they're in an environment where they haven't had the opportunity with humans and people.
I don't feel like it would change anything because I feel like it more so, again, would be affecting the people who do those jobs. Like, if I right now, like, had to, like, kill my own food, I probably wouldn't be into it whether or not they were talking to me in English or screaming in whatever language they scream. Like,
Valid point.
But I'm not doing that.
Yeah. It's going to be the same level of hidden from you. So from our perspective, you're just eating chicken.
Yeah, like, unless, like, the meat on my plate is, like,
still talking.
Like,
you're eating me, you jerk.
I agree with that to a certain extent, but with social media and being able to access so much out there, there's no doubt that we would see videos of animals that are like making videos themselves being like
if an animal is making and posting videos, if an animal is creating videos and posting them to social media, I agree. We probably should not eat them.
But I'm also like, I don't know, like, would the lion care, like, if the zebra was screaming at them? Like,
maybe
like
a lion
the
would,
same
but we're talking about humans. Do you feel
well,
it
no,
is
we're saying
wrong?
we're saying in this specific scenario that the animals are conscious, so it is relevant. Do you think it would impact if the lion...
Oh, I don't think it would impact them. I'm saying from a human perspective, is it immoral?
If they were, know, emotionally...
I think
if
it
they're
is
emotionally
in some
invested in this scenario.
I think it's in some fashion morally wrong to eat other intelligent life forms. Mm-hmm. Yes. Imagine someone eats you. That would suck.
No, but I'm just saying in that scenario, then it just trickles down into is every animal on the planet going to become a vegetarian?
I think they would. If every animal was aware of their existence and aware of all the existence of other animals and that they have their own lives and intelligence, yeah, I think everyone would be a vegetarian.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not certain
Unless
species.
you're like,
depends.
I don't know.
Honestly, even certain humans are fucked up.
Some humans do eat intelligent species, other humans.
Cannibalisms.
Yeah, cannibalisms.
Well, just like other stuff too. Like people eat dolphin and
Sorry,
shit.
cannibals.
But like people already eat intelligent beings. Like I don't.
That's true,
You know
but
what I
it's
mean? Like
yeah,
Like
but it's
what?
rare.
like they eat dolphins and shit, and dolphins aren't like stupid.
But we don't hear him talking.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yes, that in itself, like I don't think I would eat a dolphin.
No, I wouldn't eat a dolphin.
Yeah.
No. Like I heard like people making that argument recently about like octopus. That octopus are extremely intelligent about how immoral it is that people eat that. So I don't know, guys. You think you're eating those extremely intelligent beings?
The calamari though, guys. I don't know. Yeah, I may change my mind on this.
They were like, because they were talking about how they broke up with the person because they ate octopus. So I was like, wow.
I changed my mind now.
This conversation may make me a vegetarian. I'm not sure.
I changed my mind on my opinion here.
We're all vegetarians.
It depends. It depends how good that species tastes.
Suppose the world switched to a 4-day work week but extended the workday to 10 hours. Would people be happier overall?
Yeah, I think so. That's all. No explanation.
I'm like,
Yes.
I don't even know.
I feel like if we were used to working 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day, it's almost such a small difference that you would probably not really notice it if it was something you were used to doing. But having an extra day where you don't have to wake up early or you don't have to, go drive in traffic in the morning and then drive in traffic on your way back is extremely noticeable.
Yeah.
So I think in that
That's
respect, like it will feel like you're gaining a lot more personal time, even though you're actually working technically a little bit more.
That's fair. I would just rather work less, but...
Well, I guess you're working the same.
But I guess I do agree that I think like it would probably feel better even though you're technically not working less hours, but generally speaking, I would just probably prefer a work culture that was more similar to Europe, like actually getting a reasonable amount of like vacation time.
Yeah.
Things like that. But yeah.
I think that I think I'd be happier. I think just having, like, even if it ends up being the same amount of time, having, like, a whole day extra because I work a couple hours more on my work days is not the end all. Like, that would be definitely beneficial to me to have Friday off, let's say. Have Thursday be my Friday. Yeah, I would like that. Because there are days where I work over 10 hours. There are days where
I was just gonna
if I
say,
don't have if there are days that I don't have as much work, I'm not working as much. The typical work day is an 8-hour long day, but that, as you guys know, well, Morgan, it's probably different for you because you work in a school and you have an allotted amount of time you have to be there. But for, outside of that career and other careers, well, I'll just speak on mine. Like, there are days where I work, 7.5 hours maybe instead of 8 hours. I'm not typically working less than that, to be honest, but so if 10 hours becomes like a day-to-day thing, like I'm not always going to be working that, and I rather have the extra day to myself to do whatever I want. Yeah, I would feel so much better.
Yeah, the way that I probably work at least 10 hours a day already. So I would just be getting a free day. Nice.
But no, I think it would be better in that respect just because I feel like with the weekend, with only 2 days, you're trying to cram in both relaxation time, but then also just like the things that you need to get done, like chores and like doing things around the house and whatnot. And so because of that, it then just ends up feeling like the weekend is only one day because there was only one day that you really got to relax and recharge.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Picture a world where people are assigned names based on their personality traits instead of at birth. How would this change? How would we view identity?
I don't even know if I can begin to imagine the implications of that. I feel like they probably reach in areas we wouldn't have even imagined.
What was the question again?
It's imagine if your name was symbolic. Can you actually just repeat the question?
Picture a world where people are assigned names based on their personality traits instead of at birth. How would this change how we view identity?
So your name is representative of your personality, not just something that's assigned to you at birth. So your name, like, I guess if you had similar names, it would mean that you're similar personalities.
All right, well, let's look at it like this. Knowing my personality, what would my name be?
It'd be Kyla.
Because you don't know anything different.
There's nothing to compare it to, but what it would mean is that assume that I have a similar personality to you. Maybe my name's Kyle. So we would have
maybe
name.
my name is. What if my name is Noah as well, but without the H? So it's Noa, and yours is Noah.
That would mean we have very similar personalities.
But we have similar personalities, but they're not exactly the same.
Exactly, which is why you're missing the H.
Yeah. And it is weird, too, because a lot of our names come with their meanings being certain personality traits, even whether they do apply to us or not. But I don't know. I feel like if we were all named on our personality traits, it would just be like one other thing to divide and separate us.
Exactly.
Like we'd end up being like the factions and Divergent or whatever the heck.
That's sort of what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
It's a way to divide people. Like a new way. Whereas names today are just sort of random.
Yeah, I think it would be corrupt unless you could choose your own name based off of your personality.
Yeah, because it's like, how do you choose which personality trait is the one that gets stuck as your name?
Yeah.
So.
Maybe it's some like algorithm that takes in all your personality.
Well, because I mean, like, because then like you're like, what if you were only known as like one of your personality traits and like none of the other ones?
Oh, so your name's like Joy?
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Anxiety?
Yes. Like my name's Anxiety and that's it.
No, the way that I look at it is like Josh just happens to mean, a person with these traits.
Oh, no. I was thinking of it like your name is like Worry or like...
or Happy. That's how I was thinking thinking of it.
I did not think of it like that.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Like if you're a
That
super happy-go-lucky person, then your name would be Happy. If you're a, like, very excited, like, outgoing person, gets along with everyone, then your name could be Wow. Or...
Yeah, no. I feel like it would just make people, like, appear less multifaceted, which is not something we want to encourage within society.
It would be almost like it would just be too defined. Like it would define you too much. And then that would be everything. Like
exactly.
you wouldn't have like your personality wouldn't be as complicated, if that makes sense. Like you wouldn't have certain aspects to you. You would only be identified by what your name is, which I don't think would be a good thing. And how do you know what a baby's personality is going to be like? And look, I'm not a mom, so like if you're a mom out there listening to this and you feel like you know exactly what your baby's personality is, so maybe that's different, I don't know. But like how do you know the full extent of someone and you change as a person over time. So not that your personality necessarily changes, but like it could play into that. Like there are some parts of your personality that may come off different. Maybe it doesn't change. Maybe you're still the same as you've always been, but it comes off outwardly different than, how, I don't know. It's just... I don't like it. I
have a new situation. What if your name was just whatever mood you were in at that given time?
So your name would change?
Like a mood ring, just like above your head.
Yeah.
Angry.
Your name would change all the time. Hey, angry, get your butt over here. Hey, hungry, I got some food.
Sounds really confusing.
Hey, in pain.
Also, it's like, how do you even know who you're talking to at a certain
You don't.
And think about it, like feelings change they can change so many times just in a day. So in one day you could have so many different names. You could be excited, you could be sad, you could be happy, you could be angry, you could be, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
you can have a conversation with someone and have to call them multiple names.
Imagine a society where no one uses cash or digital payments and everything is traded. What would become the most valuable currency? I think the most valuable currency would be some sort of animal, like meat product, food, something we use as food, because you need that to live. Or
I think
water.
It depends on a few things. One, how rare is it? How hard is it to obtain? And two, how important is it to life?
Well, my question also is everything an equal trade? Like,
Well, that's the thing.
I'd say, or yeah.
Different things
No,
have different
'cause-
worth.
Yeah. Or what is it like the top things for me would be like some sort of food product, so meat, or like something you grow, a vegetable, whatever it is, or it would be like how you build your home so it's safe, so like using brick and cement sort of stuff versus like hay or whatever else there is. Those are the two things I think of.
So the most important thing will be hay.
I'm kidding. I got lost with that.
No,
I was like,
I'm
wait,
saying
what?
I'm saying like brick versus hay. Like you would rather have brick and cement
Brick's
to build
more
your
expensive
home.
than hay. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Like I
Gotcha.
think things like technology and like computers and that kind of stuff would become less valuable because there are certain things you need to like live and not die every day versus like things that you need that are on like a secondary level, I guess. Like
couldn't you
cooking,
say that?
like-
Couldn't you say that about items today? I need water to live, but a computer is more expensive.
I was
than
going
a
to say,
gallon of
why
water.
in this specific scenario do we not have the ability to live comfortably?
Yeah, I still think we
Well,
can.
That's what
Can I
no,
just...
you still have the ability to live comfortably, but I think that for me in this sort of society, what you need to live on a basic level would become more expensive. Well, no, not more expensive, I guess. I don't know, because if you could live in luxury, then that changes things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it-
I guess maybe
I
was just like thinking about this wrong. Because I was just thinking like I go to the grocery store and instead of using money, like I hand them like
Some
an
eggs,
iPhone.
a cow.
So like, why wouldn't I give them an iPhone to pay for my groceries? Like if I could.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the value of different items would remain the same. There would be no effect on that. It would just be a lot less convenient to purchase things because you'd have to trade things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
But
agree
like
with
the
that.
value would relatively remain the same, assuming society's the same. We have the same abundance. We have the same access. If that's all the same, then
Yes.
it's not like
Yeah.
food's gonna just magically be more expensive now. Electronics are super inexpensive. That'd be sick.
Imagine birthdays were abolished and no one knew their exact age. How would people's lives and decisions change? I feel like I would be like I'm very focused on my timeline as a female and because I want kids, so I am thinking about my timeline to have kids and not struggle with that necessarily. I feel like I wouldn't think of that as much. Or just even my timeline for things now that we're getting into now that we are in our late 20s. Not feeling as bad about certain things, I guess. Or overthinking things.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to think of
I was saying,
what effect that would have.
I was thinking
on
about
me.
this more from an education perspective, and it was like I can't even like think about how you would even group kids if you don't even know how old anyone is. Like, I can't even
How much they know.
conceptualize.
It's probably actually a better way of doing it.
How much they know.
Yeah.
Based off of how much they know.
No, but that wouldn't work because you have to think about, like, social dynamics when it comes to kids, and, like, even if they...
Maybe they get grouped by their social skills.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, trying to match all of those things, social dynamics, and how much they know, like, and, like, how they should be along, like, at certain points.
It'll just be harder to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, and farther along at certain points, not even in, like, a negative meaning way, but in terms of, like, just science. Like, if you haven't learned to read by age 8, like, it's not happening. Or, like, it's very unlikely it's going to
there's no
happen.
age 8, so maybe...
That's what I'm saying. So if you didn't even know the age, like, we just have a bunch of people who couldn't read because we didn't know we didn't even read that benchmark in time, like...
Wait, so it's... At age 8, it's likely that that it's hard to read after, or, like, it makes it almost impossible
if you
haven't
like mastered how to read by age 8, it's like statistically, like, it's much harder to learn to read, like, after.
What grade is that? Like,
third?
What, first?
Third is considered to be, like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, like, 8, 9, yeah.
Wow.
It's a big year. For reading.
It is. If you know,
that's a lot of pressure.
How old they are.
So that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. So if...
Yeah, there's probably so many implications we wouldn't have thought about. Like, it sounds like little did we know we'd all be much dumber.
We wouldn't be able to read.
But who knows?
Or maybe we'd get in there much earlier and everyone would be able to read. I don't know. Like...
Maybe there would be less pressures on things. That's what I would think of.
No, I was going to say, but in that end, yeah, like, just, like, I also was thinking about just in terms of, like, dating, how it would, like, shift the culture of that so much. Like, I feel like it would become a lot more just about, like, how people physically appeared, as opposed to...
It'd have to be, because there'd be no other
Which would be,
dates.
like, good and bad. So...
Yeah.
It's a weird one. Yeah, that's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
All right.
Less ageism.
Or more. Maybe if you
more.
look really old, even
Or
if you're
more.
not that old, people will hate on you. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Imagine a world where every lie, no matter how small, was broadcast to everyone within a 10-foot radius. Would people be more honest or just quieter?
I'll tell you what. COVID would have been a lot less of a problem because everyone would keep 10 feet from each other. You'd see people spaced out a lot more. COVID would not have happened. So,
Social distancing would
be a lot easier.
elite.
It'd be a lot easier. I think that people would, I'm being serious now. I think people would quite literally stand further away from each other, generally speaking, than they do today. What were the repercussions you were asking?
There were no repercussions.
Well, it would...
Oh, it would...
people are hearing your...
It would be broadcast to everyone within a 10-foot radius.
Yeah.
You said, and then would people be more X or Y?
Would people be more honest or quieter?
That's the repercussion. So would they be more honest or would they be quieter?
I think certain people would
Both?
be more honest and certain people would be more quieter. More quiet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think everyone would be more honest and more quiet.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everyone would be both of those things.
Yeah.
In the situations where it mattered more to be honest, people would be honest. And in the situations where it was like, it's unnecessary to be super honest, people are going to be more quiet.
Wait a second.
I say, plus at that point, it's like, it's obvious that you're lying because if you answer something honestly and it's quiet and you answer something as a lie and it's like booming.
Wait a second. Yeah, wait a second. Your lie gets broadcasted to people 10 feet around. So who cares how quiet you are? People 10 feet from you are going to hear it.
Yeah.
So people won't be quieter because it won't matter.
But that's what I mean. They're going to also just naturally know that you're lying.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's going to be so
People are going
damn
to tell
loud.
the truth a lot more and they're going to stand far apart.
Yeah.
A lot less traffic. Oh, we could use that.
That was our last question. This was an episode that was kind of all over the place, to be honest, I feel like. But fun questions. Very fun questions. So thank you so much for tuning in once again, as always. Noah and Morgan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast again. You guys are amazing. Noah, your sweater is snazzy. Morgan, I love that you're matching with Noah. You are just as snazzy.
Thank you.
I will have to jump in.
I was gonna say.
I will have to jump in.
Yes.
I copied Morgan. I'm matching her. She's the original purple today, so.
Well, then
Thank
Morgan
you.
is the
Thank you.
brain of the
Yes.
operation.
She is.
Per usual. But it's fine. Anyways. No, but thank you guys so much for coming on. It's always fun to have you both now on. Morgan, I hope you've enjoyed your experience on the podcast. So anyways, please tell me what you guys think of these topics. Again, they were all over the place, so I'm curious what you guys think of these. And make sure you remember to rate, like, comment, share. It helps tremendously. Follow me on my personal Instagram, which is Kyla_Millberger. Follow me on the podcast Instagram, which is the_bettertogether_podcast. And send in questions and comments to thebettertogetherpod@gmail.com. And if you forget any of this, or if there's something I didn't mention, it will be linked below in the description. So thank you so much again, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye!